Hey, Joander. Hi, welcome all to Adex at Night Live. Today, we're doing, oh my god, it's so chaotic. We're doing some gymnastics news first, and then we're going to do a Scam Cup retrospective.
There are many Scam Cups, but we have picked the definitive one.
Oh, definitive one, yes.
So-
definitive one, yes.
So news happened literally while we were leaving air last night. Tom Farden has been put on administrative leave for reasons Utah is not saying.
Oh, Christmas!
They are saying that it's not because of athlete welfare.
And it's one of those like, what is it for then, sister?
I mean, my bet is alcohol because that would be what would piss off the Mormons, and they say whatever happened was not their values.
See, okay, here's my thing. I think that they had to put it that way so they didn't say he violated his contract.
Oh, I'm sure that, but I'm just saying that they were looking for a reason, obviously, and they found one.
Yeah.
And alcohol is my first guess. My second guess is that he was mistreating staff.
Yeah.
Because if he's yelling at gymnasts, what?
I have some tea for you too.
You got tea?
I got tea.
Is it about this?
Related. So let you finish.
So anyway, that's my guess. He's being replaced by one of his assistants. The chatter on the Gymternet by people who are close to the transfers is that she's a good one.
That
she was trying to protect people from him.
I always liked her.
Well, she apparently has been on short lists to be a head coach in places, but her husband works for the university in another capacity, so she's tied to Utah.
Right. She was a gymnast, no?
I believe she was a Washington gymnast.
Oh, and she was under what's her face?
Well, maybe. I mean, I don't know how old she is.
Oh, Cordelia! Oh my gosh! I believe it is related to NIL. There are not a lot of NIL rules. But there are some specific rules around what coaches can and do and cannot do when it comes to collective.
Interesting. And Utah is very into the collectives.
Yeah.
So, thank you, Cordelia.
Only starstruck.
We love Cordelia.
Okay, so here's the tea. So, I don't know. Yeah, go.
Yeah.
Okay. So, a little birdie told me that one of the analysts for Super 16 meet in Vegas will be friend to the show in our Lord, Darion Go-Burn. She's asked off for WWE, so she will be one of the analysts for Super 16 meet in Vegas. And I'm going to just show you the really cute graphic I made because I got asked to make it. But on MLK Day 2024, there's going to be an amazing, incredible, beautiful meet at Vanderbilt in the Memorial Auditorium. Let me bring it up so you guys can see. And it will be 6 gymnastics teams from 6 schools with 6 Black female coaches. Is that it? That's all right. Let me show you the graphic. It's so cute. It's so beautiful. I love it. But where's she at? Oh, there she is. Is that it? Yes. Here we go. And boop. Oh, well. Transform. Fit to screen. Boom. There it is. So you are invited to save the date. It's a historic gymnastics event hosted by Fisk University, 6 teams, 6 Black female head coaches, MLK Day 2024, Nashville, Tennessee, Vanderbilt University, Memorial Auditorium at 3 p.m. It'll be Talladega, Rutgers, William & Mary, Brown, and Iowa State University. So yeah. So exciting.
That looks really great. So
thank you.
I'm going to congratulate you.
Thank you.
So the other thing is
What happened? You roboted.
Trinity showed up to national team camp.
Yeah, that's a thing. That's a thing.
So whatever your um, information was wrong, which I'm glad
And
for.
I'm glad for it too. Yeah, yeah,
Uh, I'm still hoping that both her and Gabby show up to, um, or both her and Gabby are sent to international assignments early in the year. Baku is still on the USAG calendar. Doha is not anymore because Doha has been moved 6 weeks, and so now it's not at a convenient time for relative to other USAG choices. So,
yeah.
I just want them to get international scores at something that is not Jesselo or DTB Pokal before the height of the Olympic season, since neither of them has international scores from this quad.
Yeah. Also, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but the Pro Gym League is looking to debut in the spring. You and I both feel similarly about this, Catherine, about how like it might get
Yeah, we'll
lost.
see. I want to see actual stuff from them, not just them saying things.
Yeah, yeah.
So the next thing
Oh, tell me about
is we
Simakova.
got. Oh, you want to talk about Simakova first? I was going to talk about Valentina next.
Well, it's all like it's together, isn't it? I mean, Russia.
Well, sort of. I mean, they're related. Okay, so rhythmic gymnast Anastasia Simakova uh, is an apparatus world champion as a junior. She was kind of set up to be like an acceptable third place or second place finish behind whatever the Viner favorite of the flavor of the month. Um, and she moved from Russia to Germany in 2022, and Russia held up her FIG license transfer. So she can't compete until March of 2024. So the English speaking side of the Gymternet has had this theory that she immigrated because she wanted better competition access, which is possible, though she had been getting the kinds of assignments that suggested she was going to get assignments. But when I went digging, so this is going to require some historical knowledge. She's apparently what's from a group called the Russian Germans, or the German Russians. These are descendants of settlers from the czarist time. Like, the czars would basically advertise in Germany for settlers to go and either sort of experienced farmers who could farm land that they wanted settled, or people with technical knowledge. And there were a lot of them, and they basically settled in Russia for a century. And then when World War II happened, Stalin basically uprooted all of them from their settled communities and shipped them east to Siberia and Kazakhstan. And Simikova was born in a Siberian city. And her parents apparently immigrated to Germany sometime before 2022. Um, and the combination sort of suggests that at some point in her family history, either an ancestor of hers was sent to a labor camp, uh, or certainly her family was forcibly moved east to Siberia. The context clues suggest bad things happened to her grandparents
Oh
or
no.
her great grandparents. Um, anyway, so her parents are living in Germany in 2022. She's a minor and living in the dorms of the Russian rhythmic system. And basically, it appears that her parents are just like, you're not going to be in Russia now after the invasion. And she moved to Germany to be with her family when the biggest war in Europe since World War II broke out. I do not blame her parents in the slightest. I doubt they
No.
were really thinking about her rhythmic career.
They're thinking
So that's
of
the
their safety.
context. It's not quite like Darja's move. Darja moved when she was 12 to live with grandparents in 2018. That was clearly about opportunity because she was not a Viner favorite. Simakova is not a favorite, but a sort of second tier Viner favorite, or was. But what this is like is Valery Belenky, the famous Soviet turned German mag, was also a Volga German, and his family had immigrated to the Soviet Union in the early 20th century, and it's the same sort of law that he immigrated to Germany under, mostly because he didn't want to be a Jew in Azerbaijan.
Yeah,
But
which is understandable.
So I mean, this is the context. It's not as simple as she wanted better opportunities. In 2022, when this work, not wanting to have their 17-year-old daughter living in another country that was potentially off.
Yeah. It's so entrenched in just.
This is like, you should really investigate these things before you judge somebody for switching countries, because I saw a lot of sort of aspersions on her as trying to dodge the ban. And she has to sit out a year, and I'm sure that she's doing this because Viner did not want her to let her go. Anyway, so that's the story. You asked about it yesterday.
She's incredible.
Valentina has reacted to the FIG rules, and the answer is basically we're not going to be competing under a fucking blue flag.
Or wearing blue leotards.
Or wearing blue leotards. So here is, I'm just going to read her own statements, not like the Russian propaganda description of the FIG rules. We do not agree with any of the admission criteria of the FIG is developed, Rodienko said. Until the International Federation makes changes to its documents, we will not send any athletes to the starts. This decision is that of the national team's coaching staff. We couldn't decide otherwise. We were offered to compete under some kind of blue flag. The international in these criteria exceeds the recommendations of the International Olympic Committee in terms of severity. So,
but does it, Valentina? Does it?
Well, I mean, it does, but also it matches what the IOC kind of wanted people to do.
Yeah.
So someone pointed out that maybe the Russians might be interpreting the light blue as the Ukrainian blue, which I don't think that's what FIG intended, but I wouldn't be surprised if whoever in the European feds was pushing for these criteria, I would not be shocked if they liked the coincidence.
Yeah, they were trolling them hardcore.
Everything about this document says the Europeans got exactly what they wanted.
Yeah.
So
How do you feel about that?
I am pleasantly surprised because the way things fell out in, say, fencing, the Fencing Federation has punished a lot of European feds basically for trying to protest this. One of the great joys of watching the last year unfold is the German Fencing Federation's determination to humiliate Thomas Bach.
And he is the
so Thomas Bach is the head of the International Olympic Committee. He is a gold medal champion in fencing from Germany, and they have been canceling fencing World Cups in Germany if they're forced to admit Russians, including his baby tournament in his hometown.
Ooh.
Like, when I say the German Fencing Federation is determined to humiliate him, I mean it's personal. They are the amount of petty trying to embarrass him and sort of claim him not as their own is kind of wonderful.
And like we constantly say, like, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
shout out to Kohl's for this shirt, by the way. Not that they're sponsoring me or anything, but I would love it.
so anyway, that's the bulk of it. We haven't heard anything else from camp besides that Gabby is going and that Trinity is there. I don't expect to hear much because this is not a like camp we hear much about.
We might see a couple videos, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think Simone is there at that camp.
Well, she doesn't have to be. No, like I would bet that no one from the world's team is there. Or the Pan Am's team.
Yeah.
So would you like to start us with what you know about the Scam Cup?
Oh, Scam Cup. Forever in our disgrace? I don't. So Scam Cup was a meet that was noted for being a scam, because essentially the USAG would stop at nothing to make sure that the USA gymnast won. But it's been won by Nautica Manich, it's been won by Mary Lou Retton, it's been won by several notable USA gymnasts.
Carly Patterson, Nastia Lukin, Carrie Strug. And it was only won by someone who was not American like 4 or 5 times.
And it was the most prestigious gymnastics competition on American soil. Sure.
So, the context of 2011's American Cup, which is what we're going to watch, is it was the first FIG World American Cup. And FIG had been trying, or no, there was a like earlier one, but this is the first one of the like last chain of them.
Yes.
And basically, Marta had been using the American Cup as a showcase for the gymnasts that she wanted to display.
Like a soft launch.
Jordan Weber won the American Cup in 2009 as a junior because Marta felt like putting her in. And there had been shady American Cups for a long time because
no
the
one
American
took it
Cup
seriously.
Well, the American Cup was a kind of competition that there used to be a lot more of.
Yeah.
There were shady domestic invitationals that invited international gymnasts where it was expected that the local gymnasts would get a little help from the judges all around the world. But most of those either went away or they were more legitimate competitions.
And now let's point out that this specific one, like you said, was Olympic. No, not Olympic qualifier.
It was a FIG World Cup.
FIG World Cup. And for this one, you had to have competed at Worlds the previous year.
Yeah, so the scamming, one of the particularly scammy elements of this is that there actually were rules, and this was supposed to be legitimate, and it had some issues.
Girl.
But I want to, but partly I want to say the American Cup after this point, as a FIG World Cup, was basically legitimate.
Yeah.
So any of those gymnasts who won the American Cup in the last 9 years of its existence should not be like shade should not be put on their flowers.
And that's Leanne Wong, that's Morgan Hurd.
Yeah. So I just want to put that out there is that as we knew it at the end, it was a real competition. This is just a shady thing. So let's talk about how it was shady.
Yeah.
So Jordan Weber was a first-year senior in
Elizabeth Price.
2011. Um, like, whenever I talk about the American Cup, I always want to make sure people understand that there is a period when it is completely legitimate, and we don't want to shade those people.
Yes.
So the Jordan Weber was a first-year senior in 2011, and the rules said that you had to compete at the World Championship, or at least have been a senior at the time. But the thing is that she inserted her in a way that isn't as shady as the internet wants to say, because they had a withdrawal from the competition from, I believe, a British gymnast, and they needed somebody to fill that place. And the Russians' complaint is that they should have found somebody who was qualified. I have more sympathy for the organizers that they really did have to have somebody to fill this place. I'm sure Marta was not sad that she could put Jordan in there, but there is a legitimate reason for Weber to have been put in there, as a logistics of the competition.
And it was now, the fact that they sent invites to the top 20, right?
Yes. Yeah. That's the way the FIG World Cup, all around World Cups worked. The other thing that the Russians complained about was the quality of the hotel. So this is in Jacksonville, Florida, and my mother is from Jacksonville, Florida, and I can assure you that I can imagine how terrible the hotel they were given was. But Mustafina claims that she was expected to room with some random foreign gymnast. And remembering Mustafina is the world all-around champion at this point. So
Raining.
As we watch this competition, I want us to imagine who USAG wanted Mustafina to be roommates with. Because
who do you think it was?
I think it was Jessica Lopez.
But Jessica Lopez is incredible.
I know she is, but
to Mustafina is probably some random person.
Right, to Mustafina, Jessica Lopez would be the most random person in this field. So that's my guess, but I have no. But anyway, so the Russians complained about her being expected to room with somebody else. They complained about the quality of the food, and that the Americans were put in a better hotel with better food. And after
the time of Homeboy that got disgracefully removed.
Yeah, I mean, I could believe that Steve Penny did this.
Oh, 1,000%.
So, in terms of why the Russians are upset about this before the competition even starts, that's why I wanted to go through why this is, and let's make up our own minds about scoring and scamming in the actual meet.
Yes. No, this is an NBC broadcast, but it's going to be fine. We'll get through it. It'll be fine.
It's the only one available.
Only one available. Okay. So grab your popcorn, everybody. Grab your drinks. Here we go. Play. Do you need it in restream? Are you good?
I cannot hear it if it's not in restream.
Okay.
Come on inside to the Jacksonville Coliseum, where 16 of the best gymnasts in the world have come together.
Calling it Florida's largest city is an interesting choice.
A reach.
Yeah, because it's largest in geographic area and includes a lot of swamp. Hey, I grew up going to Jacksonville a lot. I'm gonna just say that.
I've never been to Jacksonville. Yes, I have. One of our best seminars.
Yeah, Jordan was really good in 2011. I don't think anybody should shade her for that.
No, this was They started these meets of rotation in.
They often did this. NBC does not like vaulting.
They don't.
In the old days, they didn't like bars either. They would start with beam.
She is artistic. She has the skills, but so does this young lady. Much improved, especially here on the uneven bars.
Watch these two skills. I've never seen this performed by a woman before.
So Weiler kips, which was a Jordan thing before it was a Simone thing.
Or Georgia. With low light. Oof. I'm reacting like I haven't watched this 1,000 times.
Yeah. Let's just try and give it its best, like,
Chance.
yeah. So why does she fall?
It was too flat. She didn't have enough propulsion from the bar.
I'm gonna make you be technical, by the way.
Okay, good. She doesn't repeat the skill. But damn, it's a good dismount.
She was such a, like, hardworking. I'm gonna get all this. And of course, he hugs her.
That was a little late, and then when she goes to the release, it just doesn't. She lets go way too late.
I wonder if the rules about having momentary hang applied then, because she doesn't have to repeat the skill if she wouldn't now have to repeat the skill. And I think that would have been
Jake
ruled as
Dalton was
momentary
so
hang.
pretty.
Oh yeah, I forgot we were going to get the mag side of this too.
He was just devastatingly pretty. Oof.
So we've missed like 3 rotations of men, by the way.
Naturally.
Not that lots of people wanted to watch rings.
Jake's strengths are floor exercise, vaulting, the power events. That's what he's known for.
Oh, my queen.
Of course, the Russians look at the magnificent 7 from 1996 with knives in their eyes. They remember that.
So this is a month before she tears her ACL.
Yeah. I have someone's snout on my back, by the way. Hi,
That's what you get for having a dog that big.
He's so cute.
AT&T, back when USAG had those kinds of sponsors.
Actual sponsors. Yeah. Not that Xfinity's not an actual sponsor. Let me say it really quick.
It's the first actual sponsor they've had in a while.
Oh, that in Core.
Well, I mean, Core is not like AT&T. Or
Yeah,
Visa.
they had nowhere near the same stratosphere.
Although I miss UFOs. Feel the ooh.
My mom has some UFO slippers. Oh, damn it.
So I feel like this Leo must have been a personal purchase Leo.
It may have been. Because she wore that several times.
This baby Raisman who has been to Worlds.
And that was her world's leotard.
Oh, and we get to see her on bars.
Technical errors there, but just not as difficult. But again, she hits her routine.
I wonder if Allie would have been better on bars to go to a different coach.
Well, there is that theory that Romanian coaches can't teach bars even when they don't live in Romania.
Fair.
And the fact that neither Allie nor
Felicia.
could really, like...
Did they ever have another elite?
I think they had a couple, but not, like,
At that
big
level.
ones. So this is the woman we blame for the wolf turns.
But god damn it, I love her so much. Number one.
And part of the era of Pink Leos from Australia.
Peggy Ledick, you will pay for your crimes.
Capable of doing a much harder vault and didn't do it, so she flew down a little bit.
Someone pointed out to me that this is the era when a lot of Australian gymnasts suddenly became snow flippy athletes.
Once again, wow, this American Cup.
Ooh, elaborate.
Fall Central.
Australia has a lot of aerial skiers, which is essentially vault on snow.
Oh.
And a lot of Australian gymnasts moved from gymnastics into those aerial skiing, freestyle skiing sports around this time period.
Oh wow.
And a lot of Australians think it was a Peggy Ledick
Defection.
flight. So what do you think went wrong for her?
She just wasn't. Well, one, I'm not saying she wasn't a good bar worker, but she wasn't a natural swinger. She really had to work to get that swing on bars, as you can see, trying to get back up to kip up, and so she just didn't have the amplitude.
She just loses control.
Yeah, like right here,
Stand position.
she doesn't make it over, and this starts turning way too early, like Tim says.
It's a hard enough event for Lauren. It's not her marquee event. Those would be balance beam floor exercise. It should get better for her.
This is, yeah.
British men have had their rough moments here. Just 15 months away from
I don't remember this British mag.
Sorry to this man.
And what's on the
I just
line
don't.
for British athletes here as well. Not only a World Cup event, the American Cup, but also the trials for the
There were so many great British mags at this period.
Really, I mean, truly, they really were leading up to London.
Their performance here to decide whether they should be on that team in April.
Talking about the hype in the lead up to the Olympic Games, he sounded like an American. He said, "I want the Olympics big time."
Ooh.
He will not get there
Oof.
performing like he has been doing.
That looked like almost a knee.
say all the time that all the great
Let me see that back.
won the American
Oh, we're not gonna get it. We're not gonna get a replay.
Mary Lou Retton,
Adjust her grips.
and Mustafina wants to be on that list simply because it's the next great thing that she can do.
And she was
While we're waiting for this, when we see Hannah Wayland, I actually want people to look at her leotard, because the White Review talked about how the British gymnastics was deliberately buying leotards too small
Because what I always admire
to quote unquote encourage a weight loss.
the greats in their own country. They can whip off names like no other. They see them every day in their gyms, but she will
Which is
not make
evil, but
Tim, what have you learned
these things
about
you notice once you know that they had done it deliberately.
ahead of them fall like we were doing?
And it's just so insidious. I mean, if your leotard doesn't fit after having been fitted for one, it creates this
And
weird
it
like
doesn't
narrative
even
in your
look good
mind.
either. Like,
It doesn't.
as good as she can be.
She has incredible
a seamstress friend of mine was like, why do the British always look like they have terrible leotards? And it's because they were always being ordered too small.
Very tricky
Yeah.
element.
Oh, gorgeous.
Mustafina on bars.
Struggled on this all week. She's on. Can't tell you how many times she missed the bar in training.
And I want to point out, she was good before the knee, but she was even better after the knee.
This is gigantic.
She just has such a lovely natural floaty swing.
She's artistic, she's athletic, and she's tough.
First time she smiled all day.
You cannot teach that.
I'm wondering though if the knee is starting to give her problems here though.
It has to. Because
Since
I mean, leading
we've
up to
talked
a knee,
about
like you feel a little like, oh, it's a little sore. Oh, the knee pains.
let me check the results and see if
Working with women.
I
it
do want to
looks like
point
she
out
did
though
an
that
MR here.
this whole diva narrative started here at NBC.
At some point, I think it's here where they talk about how Elfie is outraged that she won't say that she admires Corkina, and I'm like, the 16-year-old girl has a better sense of character than you do.
Period.
She knows Corkina, and she has decided that, yeah. So
She's not someone to look
based
up
on
to.
based on the scores, it looks like Mustafana did on Aminar here.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to put that in context since she will blow her knee on an Aminar in a month.
Tough going off to practice and leaving her and his fiance at home.
Because this was in March and that happened in April, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Almost exactly a month later.
And it was the Europeans, right?
Yeah. It was in the Europeans all around, and I do not recommend watching that vault.
Don't.
A pretty nice ball.
Maybe it inspired him.
Yeah, not bad. A little low with his chest on the landing, but
Of course, he's known.
Of course I heard. Are you kidding me?
Long, lean line, and that's the event. Did so well on at the World Championships last year. Came in fourth.
fourth the year before that,
Yeah.
the worst spot ever. And that kind of landing stings the ankles. That's all there is to it. You know, we asked him about the American Cup, and he says,
Oh, this man.
It is a big, big competition.
Jonathan Horton of the United States trying to make this trip.
I really hope with time he's learned to just not talk.
Let's go to Andrea Joyce.
You know, Al Jonathan has been battling some injuries. A broken thumb kept him out of the gym for.
I am still annoyed that he got an interview where that
Told me that he wasn't.
one of the questions was, why do people hate you? And he got to define that.
85%, and he says that makes him feel.
It's like, Jonathan, people hate you because you talk out of turn.
Is actually a good thing. He says he performs much better. Evidence of that 2009 when he won his first U.S. national title. He said he was not 100.
Let's go to Hannah Whelan instead.
Okay, Andrea Jonathan next up on the vault. Meanwhile, it's one at a time this year, the way they're running the AT&T American Cup, so we'll see a little bit of everybody.
What'd you say?
Hannah Whelan of Great Britain.
He said that people hate him because Twitter is bad.
Twiddle from Great Britain. Who is
I mean, don't get me wrong, Twitter is bad, but not because of the reasons he thinks.
keeps going, 25 years old.
Outfit.
Just keeps getting better.
Oof.
In particular, kind of look at the shoulders
What's going on?
Yeah.
because that's a good place to see it. If you see wrinkles in the armpits of a leotard, as I'm told by a professional seamstress, that is evidence that the leotard
British gymnasts take on that big stage.
Far too small.
Well, she said she's constantly reminded of the commercials.
is at least. And see how there's those wrinkles at her armpits?
It's making her nervous.
That means the shoulders are not big enough for her.
Ill prepared last week.
Yeah.
And like I said, I only bring this up because it was part of the White review. This was part of a systematic way they were mistreating their athletes.
And I mean, it's from the little details too. Like, it was an overall just environment of abuse.
Like thinking the way of people is weight.
One more time. That was good.
So do you
But do
think
you
he
mind repeating
stayed
what you're
on the
saying?
national team too long?
But do you mind repeating what you're saying?
Do you think he stayed on the national team too long?
I'm going to answer that, but what were you saying about Hannah Whelan before that? No, I don't.
No, I don't.
Before that, I was saying, imagine thinking that Hannah Whalen needed to be told to lose weight.
Oh yeah, that's
Of all
that's
people.
terrible.
Oh yeah, that's terrible.
Like, she was already tiny.
Um,
Um,
I don't care for that
Except,
double front.
I mean,
double front. But we've had a major shift here as this 2011 AT&T American
I mean, he gets
continues
his feet.
He get to his feet, but there was just
but it was just
it. Again, we've seen it before. It's the tucking is too early.
the tucking is too early. American Cup in Jacksonville, Florida. The women have moved to the pressure-packed balance beam. The men are over.
And you know, for all
You
this
really-
maybe I just learned it wrong.
Maybe I just learned it wrong.
Well, I mean, you explaining things made me understand why a lot of those prods went wrong a lot better. So thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome.
But the fact that you've done a double front kind of helps.
It's one of those things that's just like you have to be able to ride that vertical, otherwise you're never going to get it around.
So what that means is they took from the last
Wakati.
Wakati. The top 8 gymnasts.
Are you hungry?
Are you hungry? If someone
Yeah.
declined or was
Well,
injured, they went
a little
down
bit.
the list from the World Championships. Jordan Weaver, she wasn't even old enough to be in the World Championships last year.
I like Tim's suit and tie.
Actually,
He has a good tailor.
the hotel. The same time the Russians were coming in after 25 hours of travel, and you know what? They were visibly angry.
Elfie looks like she's going to his funeral.
They let me know it.
Well, it may be a moot point now because she fell on the uneven bars, and that has dramatically changed.
I will give Tim no flowers ever in my life. I'm sorry.
I wonder if Elliot was feeling threatened at this point. This was a point when Nastya was already doing floor commentary.
In a room with
Yeah.
not happy in any way. He came to me and he said, Jordan Weaver, she's not old enough. She's not 16 years. She wasn't in the World Championships. You need to do something about it. And I said, I'm NBC. Alexander, I'm NBC.
But yeah, I think that's a private purchase, Leo. I think the Russians do a lot of private purchase Leos for like individual things.
Yeah. I remember Angelina sewing on the Russian logo on her Leos.
What his goal is, he still sees Kohei Uchimura, who is the world champion. He knows what score he scored at the World Championships, and if he's nowhere near there, that he won't be happy even if he wins this American Cup.
I want to talk about this connection coming up.
Okay.
This will be interesting to see how she can rebound.
Right here.
She has a pass.
Pro walkover. Noggin. Oh, not this one. This one's fine. This one's fine. This is fine. It's the one coming up here. After the leap series. Good sleep. Back pike. Good. Sasson. Good. Side semi's fine. But right here. No, this is a turn.
She said it wasn't pressure, but with Mustafa here, it's a whole different story.
But at the same time, she was extremely thrilled to be on the stage with her. She watched her at the World Championships.
Free cartwheel's fine.
What she's all about. She's been sizing her gymnastics up with Mustafa.
But this is the way she does gymnastics. Watch this big.
Full. Oh, so this is before the connection. Never mind.
I think that's a strategic plan.
They should have just left it like this.
She's a really solid beamer.
Yeah.
Huge difficulty.
Like, all of her
Gorgeous.
skills are so secure.
There was no need to rearrange it.
So, I've heard a couple of stories. One that Muriel Grossfeld told Marta that the connections would get credit, and they did get credit at 2011 Worlds, and that Marta basically exiled Grossfeld from the ranch after London, Now,
Back handspring.
it's
Right into a layout.
I'm not crying for Muriel Grossfeld, who was a horrible human being.
Beautiful.
Nice combination.
But I'm wondering just how clear
Folks have to be in
those
line
connections
to have
were,
that
given that she was given them at Worlds.
not easy.
Do you see how much that beam shakes on the podium?
Yeah. Is that
Y'all.
not normal?
I mean, it's normal, but just like I want people to understand that, like when they say like it's different, it's completely different.
Flawless routine. Then that on balance beam. I mean, that was
One of the things I want to point out is that it's anchored under the podium, so you can't just move the beam either. This
Yeah.
was like the problem last year. They couldn't just like move the beam to the left to avoid the leak.
Disaster on the pommel horse, and it just flipped this competition upside down.
I love Philip Boy.
event vault was great. He scored 16 plus on it. But there was a problem.
Back when the Germans had more mags.
Supposed to do that.
Marcel Nguyen or Marcel Nguyen.
It's kind of shocking because he came into this competition really excited to be part of the
Hambuchen.
Hambuchen. Very fit, had trained hard for this event. Knew that Fabian Hambuchen has been invited many times. In fact, he was frustrated that Fabian kept getting all the invitations. Couldn't wait for his time.
And for Philip Dowser to really come in and just like fulfill the what's it called, the
Lucas Dowser, you mean?
yeah, Lucas. Sorry, for Lucas Dowser to come in and just like fulfill the prophecy, it's so cool.
Yeah, I just kind of wish they had sort of more
More.
depth coming in. Ellie Sight's brother looks really interesting on high bar.
I'm interested to see how far he progresses. Oh, my queen, stop! Everybody, stop talking.
Sorry. Huang Quishuang of China in second place coming into this rotation.
I love her.
She was beautiful, as are just about all the Chinese on the uneven bars. I thought she actually got a little bit underscored on that event.
And an equally
Gorgeous.
as difficult event. Very artistic here as well. She's so sure of all her movements.
Oof.
So sure more.
But just the form in the air going into that somersault.
Last few days of practice.
I cannot remember an American Cup where
She even fell off the beam beautifully.
well, this is
I know.
the best field that has ever been at the American Cup, men and women, and we are just, we're seeing falls.
That was very German in landing.
But most of the athletes will tell you once again.
I love a good Anodi.
It's a good landing position.
It really is.
World Cup events, European Championships, and of course later this year in October, the World Championships, which will be the qualification for London. That's just silly.
That's just silly. Like, Alfie, it's a switch ring on beam. One of the highest leap you can do.
I don't want to be the person who goes, Alfie, could you do that? Because like Alfie was a good gymnast.
Yeah.
But also like she was in a weird like commentary
Quad.
space at this time in her career, and she was much different earlier.
Well, so was Tim. Like, I think those three just like